Are you well, my dear students? Today, now we are going to next part of the lesson, resources and developments. Next come the second part of the lesson, that is development of resources. Here you see, though we know resources are free gifts of nature, hence humans use them indiscriminately and unthinkingly, ruthlessly. Overuse and overexploitation of the natural resources have created many problems for humans, isn't it? We are facing. Anyway, the major problems are, you see, depletion of resources, concentration of resources in a few hands, creating social disparity, rich is rich, poor is poor, isn't it? Also, it creates global ecological crises like environmental pollution, ozone layer depletion, global warming, land degradation, and many more you can write. Unfortunately, this has led to overuse and overexploitation of resources in many places, as well as wastage of resources. As a consequence, over the last few decade means 10 years, there has arisen serious concern for the conservation and management of resources as they are being rapidly depleted. If the present trend of resource exploitation continues, it would lead to disastrous consequences for our planet. For sustained quality of life, progression, world peace, and rational, judicious, and equitable distribution of resources are essential. Greed and thoughtless actions of the people, greed and thoughtless action of the people are the prime reason for the pollution and overuse of natural resources. Much more than the required quantity of resources are processed to meet the demand for rising number of increasing complex goods and services. What I told? Much more than the required quantity of resources are processed to meet the demand of the people. All these objectives for sustainable existence of all forms of life can be achieved through only resource planning. Hence, need of resource planning has come out. Rapid industrializations and fast economic growth have resulted in reckless use of natural resources. The progress and growth of all countries in future is therefore likely to be endangered if these limited resources are completely exhausted. These resources are necessary for development, though they are huge damages the environment and ecology. They cause pollution and disturb the balance in nature. From these problems, the issue of sustainable economic development has emerged in the past century. Here, remember, what is sustainable economic development? It is the development without damaging the environment or compromising with the needs of the future generation. Here, one thing I can be remember you again, remind you, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil was the meeting ground for the first International Earth Summit. Here, more than 100 heads of states met at this conference. It was in June 1992. It was held to urgent problems of the environmental protection and socio-economic development at the global level. A declaration on global climatic change and the biological diversity was signed by the Assembly's leaders. They adopted Agenda 21 and endorsed the global forest principles to achieve sustainable development in the 21st century. Question may come, what is Agenda 21? This is the declaration signed by world leaders in 1992 at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, that is UNCED, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED. It focuses on attaining global sustainable development. It focuses on training global sustainable development. Its main aim is to fight the environmental damage, poverty, diseases through global cooperation on common interests like Corona. How we have taken all common cooperation, you see here. Common interest took place here. Mutual needs and shared responsibilities. So now India is less affected by this Corona. An important and distinct aim of this agenda is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. It depends upon the place to place and as per the situation is concerned. My dear students, don't feel bored. Now let's see resource planning. Though you are the resource of your country, your home, your school, your society, you should know these things before studying other subjects. In India, if you will see, some parts are there, say Rajasthan, rich in solar energy, but but lack in water resource. Similarly, Arunachal Pradesh, you see, where is it? Northeastern part of India. Abundance of water resource. It is water resource, but infrastructural development is very less. Again, you can see the state Ladakh. Now it is Union Territory, part of Jammu and Kashmir. It was earlier. Capital of Ladakh is Leh. It is rich in cultural heritage, but water and infrastructural development is very less. Along with mineral also very less. State like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, MP, Odisha, they are rich in coal and minerals. These states are rich in coal and minerals, but technological skill is very less. So it is very obvious from this data that India is a land of enormous diversity in the availability of resources. Am I clear? India is a land of diversity in the availability of resources. Some regions are rich in certain resources but deficient in other, while some are self-sufficient. There is thus the need for a balanced program of resources planning at the national, state, regional and local levels. Clear? There is thus the need for a balanced program of resource planning at this national and regional levels. Well, my dear students, as resources are unevenly distributed and limited all over the world, Their planning is essential and important. Resources planning refers to the technique of a balanced utilization of resources. Resource planning refers to the technique of a balanced utilization of resources. India's efforts towards attaining the goals of resource planning are very evident ever since the first 5-year plan was launched since independence. Resource planning in India has three levels, namely first level, second level, and third level. First level is what? Identification and preparation of inventory of resources across the region of the country. Inventory means it involves the total work done like surveying, mapping, and quantitative and qualitative estimation and measurement of the resources. Second level, you will see evolving a planning structure endowed with appropriate technology, skill, and institutional setup for implementing resource development plans. Third level is what? Matching the resources development plan regarding first level and second level with overall national developmental plans. It should not harm to nation. See now, making construction of dams create problems in two states like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh. So this should not be happen. The development of any region depends on the availability of resources and appropriate technological skill and institutional setup. If either is missing, the development is not possible. Clear? Remember again, the development of any region depends on the availability of resources and appropriate technology. So resource and technology both must be there, along with skill and institutions. There exist many regions in India which are rich in resources but are economically backward. If we move the back into history, the era of British colonialism in India, it becomes very clear that imperialist countries found India rich in natural resources, which required superior technological skills to exploit them. The colonizing countries possessed these skills and techniques and hence were able to exploit the resources and control the colonies like India. This clearly shows that natural resources can lead to development only when technological and institutional changes accompany them. Am I right? Hence, development in India, especially resource development, is a function of availability of resources plus technology and quality of human resource along with historical experiences of the people. Dear students, again remember, development in India, especially resource development, if you see, it is a function of availability of resources, availability of technology, availability of quality of human resource, and availability of historical experiences of the people. Now we can see conservation of resources. You know, resources are essential for sustainable or for sustaining as well as for development. But over exploitation and unplanned consumption of resources are leading to their depletion. What I told, over exploitation and unplanned consumption of resources are leading to their depletion. This has socio-economic and environmental consequences. These problems can be tackled by adopting resource conservation as a means to manage and save resources for a better future. Hence, dear students, conservation of resources means, remember, using resources efficiently without harming future prospects. What? Conservation of resources means using resources efficiently without harming future prospects. It does not prohibit the use of resources, but emphasizes judicious and planned use of natural resources. Clear? Understood? Here think again. In the book given, Gandhiji has told, there is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. You know, this question comes in the exam. There is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. He said that the main cause for resource depletion at the global level was the greed of a few people and exploitative character of the modern technological development. Understood? He said it was more important to produce for the masses rather than the mass production. See, nice things he has told. Clear? He said that the main cause of our resource depletion are due to the greed of a few people, not all. And and the character of our modern technology is what? Modern technology says exploit more and more and more. Also, he said, produce for the masses, but not the mass production. He told, you produce the things, such things, it will be utilized by the mass people. But we think more production is required. We have more pen, more dresses, more clothes, more computers, more bikes. Why? But he was telling, produce for the mass, not production by mass. This philosophy has been presented in the book Small is Beautiful. Small is Beautiful by the author E. F. Schumacher. E. F. Schumacher. Also, you can see Brundtland Commission report of 1987. Brundtland Commission report of 1987 introduced the concept of sustainable development and advocated it as a means towards resource conservation. This was later on published in a book, Our Common Future. Our Common Future. Also, you know, the Earth Summit in 1992 at Brazil also made significant contribution towards the resource conservation. Now, let's stop the part. And next class again, we will continue for next part of this lesson. Okay, thank you.